Hey everyone, I hope all of you are doing well and welcome back to Kayan Al-Bashar, where today I'm going to be building a Red Panda Habitat to remind myself of the old version of Kayan Al-Bashar, because in the old version of Kayan Al-Bashar, in front of the throne room, there were 2 Red Panda Habitats. Now in the new version of Kayan Al-Bashar, this space is given or occupied by the giant anteaters and the capuchin monkeys, but there was still a little bit of space left in front of the throne room, so I managed to squeeze in a Red Panda Habitat. And after building it, I also realized that it reminds me of another build of the old version of Kayan Al-Bashar, which is the Hanging Gardens, because it kinda has a Hanging Garden vibe going on. But with that being said, I wanted to discuss a topic or subject that I was debating, should I address it or shouldn't I, or should I talk about it or shouldn't I, because I always want to keep my channel kind of like a safe haven from any storm that's brewing outside, but not talking about this subject, in my opinion, is one of the reasons why it has gone so much worse over the years. And to just give a quick opinion, I just find it disgusting that people are still being treated unfairly, unjustly, or just unequally based on their skin color or gender, sexuality, religion, any of those things. To see people still being treated with, well, let's just say blatant racism, or even unblatant, like hidden racism, I just think that's disgusting. And then also to see mostly the videos coming from videos or images coming from the US right now, where I just look at the police officers working there and it kind of just feels like they are a kind of mercenary group. This is just solely my opinion, but they kind of just look like a mercenary group who are looking out for themselves and not the people that they're supposed to protect and serve. Just, I wanted to give a quick statement, but I'm already feeling emotional and heated. But any officer, in my eyes or in my opinion, who has harmed, harassed, or in the worst case killed a person based on their skin color or any of the other factors that I mentioned, I hope personally that your next uniform will be an orange jumpsuit. And to any of the officers who have stood by and watched this happen, please, in my opinion, you should just return your badge, because you have failed the people that you're supposed to protect and serve. Like, the worst thing that I saw, or at least in my opinion the worst thing, but it's one of many, well, disgusting things to have seen, but to see I think a couple of officers, or 2 officers, in an entire marching band of officers, knock down a elderly man, and then other officers actually supporting this elderly man being knocked down. You can see him bleeding, he doesn't get up, but protecting these officers, again, that just reminds me of a mercenary group looking out for themselves and not for the people that they're supposed to protect. Yeah, I'm already getting heated, because for me it kinda also triggers bad memories, because I'm just going to say this, but I am, well, ethnicity wise, not completely white. I'm half, and luckily ever since I have been on YouTube, which for now is like 1.5 years, I have never really met any like racism on YouTube. Before that is where the bad memories are, so I'm just going to stop from going there, because that's only going to make me even more emotional and going to make this even more incoherent than it already is. But yeah, to see just the racism and everything going on, like, this shouldn't exist anymore. And I'm getting heated and emotional, so I want to try and keep it short here, because I don't think it's good if I get like completely emotional, because then I'm going off track and become incoherent. This amount of racism and everything shouldn't be. So yeah, I do stand completely with the Black Lives Matter movement, and yeah, I'm getting emotional, so I should stop it here. This is in general the reason why I don't really like to talk about politics or religion on the channel, because it's well, first of all, it's a topic that easily divides people, and I don't want to do that. I want my channel to be like a little bit of like, as I said, a shelter from any storm that brews outside, like a little bit of like making you forget anything bad happening in the world. But on the other hand, not talking about a topic like this is only going to make it worse, because yeah, ignoring a thing or development like this, yeah, that's not a good thing. I'm getting less and less coherent, so I should stop it here, but the positive note that I'm going to attach to this is that I do have a feeling that things are changing now. I really hope that things are changing. This has been a little bit on my mind, but the only like kind of criticism that I can give on like the protest is, well, it's not really criticism, it's just like a word of caution, but there's still a pandemic going on, so please wear a mask if you are marching, and if you are not feeling 100%, please stay at home. There are ways to add your voice from home. I mean, that I am doing that right now because I'm also staying home. But yeah, I'm going to end it here. I've spent, well, a little bit too much emotional time right now, so I'm going to talk a bit more about what we're actually building today, but just to give anyone who thought it wasn't clear by now, even though I am really emotional, but the kind of racism and such that I for first didn't really saw, but then after, you know, seeing everything and all, yeah, that shouldn't exist in today's world. And with I didn't saw it is maybe also because it was like so ingrained in my brain as almost a normal situation, which again shouldn't be. Like, every person should be treated the same. Skin color, gender, sexuality, religion, anything of that shouldn't matter in how you treat someone. Might have been incoherent, but I think it's better to speak up and be maybe slightly incoherent than try and ignore it, because I've taken a week off of YouTube and actually streaming. That the last thing wasn't intentional, I just forgot. But I thought I would make a more coherent statement, but I completely failed at that because emotions took over. That's why I wanted to keep it short, but it's already half of the video almost, so that didn't work. But again, just to wrap it all up before I get started talking about the actual build for today, because we're, as I said, halfway through already, but racism of any kind shouldn't be tolerated. And cops who abuse the respect and power given to them, I just really hope that your next outfit or next uniform then is going to be an orange jumpsuit, because cops, again, are meant to serve the people, not serve themselves. But anyway, as I said, I already took half of the video for this, so I'm going to start talking about the build now, because I don't think it will work if I get completely emotional over all of this, because then I'm just going to be more incoherent, and yeah, that's not going to go well. Let's just say that. But anyway, so talking about the build, I don't know how to make like a quick jump from what I just talked about to, well, the video. Yeah, I'm building, as I said, the Red Panda Habitats, and because of the way it's laid out with like these, well, terrace-like structure, I really have to recompose myself a little bit. Because of the structure and the way it's laid out, as I said, it kind of also reminds me of the Hanging Gardens. And I also did a little bit with that more, I would say, more seeable. There's another word for it, but again, I'm a mess right now, so you won't get a better word out of me right now. But I also tried to incorporate that Hanging Gardens effect a little bit more, because one of these bridge stair thingies is also sort of an aqueduct, because there's water coming down on the sides of it. But it's, yeah, I don't think I've actually recorded that because it looks so much similar to this one. It's just a little bit broader and has working fences. And surprisingly, because these bridges, stair thingies, are not that high off from the Red Panda habitat, I thought, oh, you know, Red pandas, as far as I've had them, are like masters at escaping their habitat. So I thought, alright, how the F do I make it so that the red pandas won't escape from this? But they don't. Like, even though it's like, I would say a keeper would be able to just step into the habitat from this bridge stair thingy, the red pandas can't do that. Maybe because it's all plaster, so that's the thing. Like, some pieces in game look like they should be climbable, or at least like because of the height should be climbable. But because the items aren't labeled as climbable, the animals can't use them as climbable. I actually use this because I make a animal bridge, or at least a bridge over the middle bridge. It's kind of confusing, but let's just say the aqueduct bridge, which is where the people walk over. There's also an animal bridge over that one, and it's connected to the actual aqueduct bridge, because otherwise I would have a floating animal bridge. But because the Arctic pillars aren't labeled as climbable, the red pandas actually can't like jump down from the bridge, or climb down from the bridge. So that was actually really lucky in a way, because yeah, I think I complained about this maybe in the past, but now it's like one of the best things, because I can make bridges that should be completely climbable to the red pandas or any climbable or climbing animal. But they aren't, because the pieces aren't labeled as such. Really happy with that. And then I also, because in the original, in the old version of Kayan Al-Bashar, the red pandas in front of the throne room had this massive floating gazebo. Now I wanted to have that in the new version, but I also realized, alright, they don't have a lot of space here, and if I build a giant floating gazebo for them, they are going to, well, obstruct the view of the throne room. Because that's the massive build that we're going to build, and yeah, let's just say this is actually what I wanted to have in front of the station, which was the build that basically killed the old version of Kayan Al-Bashar. So this made me kind of suspicious, kind of scared that I do it, because then I thought, wait, this isn't going to be like a station 1.2, right? But yeah, I quickly just set up boundaries of like, this is the size of the throne room. It's, I think, 2/3 of the size of the station, but I'm not going to make it as detailed as the station, because yeah, in one of the streams, which again I wanted to stream last week, but I forgot, because that's the thing with somewhat de-stressing. Sometimes you just forget random things. But what was I talking about again? Yeah, this is when I get emotional. I just become so incoherent and such a mess when it comes to my memory that I sometimes in the middle of a sentence forget what I was talking about. But oh yeah, in the station, in one of the old streams, I actually picked apart the station. I had to do that because with the station I had like 5 frames at most. But yeah, the mosaic work in the station on one of the towers, and there were 6 towers, but the mosaic work was already, well, not 10,000 pieces, I think 5,000 pieces for 6 towers. And then the actual towers, I think when you put them all together, were like half of the pieces of the station. Not going to do any mosaic work, or at least I don't think so, but we will see. I mean, if Kayan Al-Bashar becomes unplayable after this, then oops. But then the next phase of Kayan Al-Bashar will be more nature heavy and less building heavy. But yeah, we're going to see if Kayan Al-Bashar even makes it to that point. Let's just all send a prayer to, well, just quickly reaching back to the first part of the video, but let's send a prayer to everyone protesting, because please keep doing that. And please, of course, take safety, or at least, you know, your health in consideration, because there's still a pandemic going on. But also, let's send a prayer to my PC, because as I said, I'm very suspicious that I'm going full station mode again, which I probably shouldn't, because we all know, or most of us know, what happened the last time I went full station mode. But yeah, so I am right now I just built the animal bridge or the Red Panda bridge, which is literally just a pillar, pillar in the new version, Later on I changed it for just a rope because the pillar looked a little bit too chunky for it. But I actually connected it to the aqueduct bridge stair thingy. As I said, because the Arctic pillars aren't labeled as climbable, the Red Pandas can't actually climb them. So if I just use normal pillars, they could just climb down and escape, which, let's just be honest, they would. Red Pandas are masters of escaping. They're not really masters of staying escaped or like evading capture, because they are a little bit too lazy. They will probably find the nearest tree and start sleeping in it. Not the masters of evading capture, but the masters of escaping. But this is where I don't know if it's mislabeling, because the Arctic pillar pieces, they are wood and should probably be climbable. But because they aren't labeled as climbable, I can actually get it to work that it is connected to the aqueduct bridge, but the animals can't climb it. So I'm really happy. And I did actually for a second think like, oh, because the Red Panda Habitat actually also goes to the front of the aqueduct bridge or any of the bridges / stair thingies. Like it goes completely alongside the path in front of it. So I thought, oh, maybe I can make like some bridges so that the Red Pandas can get a little bit closer to the front of the habitat. But then I also thought, yeah, the Red Pandas, like I want to make it so that they aren't as obvious of a habitat. I also didn't want them to obstruct the throne room in any way when it comes to like the view. So I quickly shut that down. And instead, well, the floating gazebos are there, but they are kind of like there just to have a little bit of like badam instead of having the Red Pandas everywhere, because there are only 2 in this habitat. Actually, most of the habitats that I built lately is still a little bit weird after having like a week-long break just to, well, basically relax a little bit and de-stress. Feels a little bit weird of like, yeah, in the last habitat, wait, that's more than a week ago, or well, more than half a week ago most of the time. So, a little bit weird, but yeah, in the last habitats, so far, there have always been like 2 animals and nothing more, because I got annoyed with like the sounds of animals giving birth or any kind of like those notifications. So yeah, welfare is still on because I want to see the animals play with the actual toys, because if you put it on 100 or like make the welfare maximum, which is a thing you can put on in the options menu, because, well, it makes it easier for sandbox zoos. But yeah, if you have it on 100%, from what I know, the animals will not really do anything then, because they don't have any needs that need to be fulfilled. Yeah, I'm really happy. I also introduced a new plant to Kayan Al-Bashar, which also reminds me of another thing. So this episode is full of me reminding myself of things that I've used before. But, well, actually not introduced 2 plants, because the other one I introduced in the last video, I used these ash trees because I was kind of apprehensive of like, do I want to use them? But then I started using them. And then I also started using these rose bushes, which I used in Ozaru, but I don't really think they look like rose bushes. But anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. It was kind of incoherent at the start, and I want to just, well, want to say thank you if you listened through it. And I want to just state, racism or discrimination of any kind shouldn't be here this day anymore, and it genuinely disgusts me. And if you don't agree with me on this, like, you can disagree with me on a lot of things, but if you disagree with me on that racism and discrimination shouldn't be a thing, then yeah, there is an unsubscribe button. For anyone who agrees with me or who likes the video or anything like that, this is a weird transition, but anyway, that's going to be the end of the video. So anyone who agrees with me or, well, just likes the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, because it does help out a lot, even though today's video was as incoherent as it could be. But anyway, that's going to be it. I hope all of you have a lovely day, even if you are unsubscribing now. Hope you still have a lovely day, and I hope to see you in the next video, which now should be Sunday. So, bye bye!